No, it's not a mistake, guys, that I had a little bit of a moment of silence at the beginning of this video. I fucking hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. Man, Trent Baalke needs to be fired. All right. If you haven't heard, CJ Henderson, our best cornerback, was traded to the Carolina Panthers for Dan Arnold and a fifth round pick. No, and a third round pick. Excuse me. We sent them a fifth round pick to, include with CJ Henderson for Dan Arnold and a third round pick. All right. Let me tell you why this has me stressed out and calling for Trent Baalke's firing at this point. All right. This has been one of the worst off seasons of record. All right. I think we did okay in the draft, but let's detail where it's all gone wrong. All right. I was not a fan of firing Dave Caldwell. I didn't even understand the firing. I don't understand why you fire a GM but greenlight a rebuild. It made no sense to me because in order for you to bring Caldwell back, you had to okay the rebuild that he was setting up for. But they okayed the rebuild and then fired him. Say what you want to say about Caldwell, our previous GM. But the man knew how to identify talent, particularly in later rounds of the draft, and bring it in. Now, for one reason or another, we could never find the quarterback. And we could be better on the O-line. But Yannick Ngakoue, Miles Jack, Jalen Ramsey, bringing in AJ Boye, Calais Campbell, Barry Church, creating that Saxonville defense. That was all under Caldwell's watch. He brought that talent in. And his only problem is he may not have ever been aggressive enough to make like the big move, like bringing in like a Trent Williams or anything like that. But he knew that draft capital was gold, and he understood value of a draft pick. Trent Baalke is a complete idiot. And I don't know if it's Trent Baalke, maybe it's Urban Meyer, or maybe they're working together on this. All right. Either way, this, like any 15-year-old kid that plays Madden can understand how bad a trade this was. CJ Henderson was the number 9 overall pick. And I've gotten into it with people where while Jeff Okudah was the consensus top corner in the draft, I've gotten into it with people where I expressed to them that CJ Henderson has a higher ceiling than Jeff Okudah. And why is that? Because Jeff Okudah was more of a zone scheme type of corner. He didn't have necessarily the athleticism. He's a good corner, but CJ Henderson has the size, speed with this 4.3 40 and just general quickness like that you need to run with guys like a Julio Jones and the top receivers in the league. Guys like Jeff Okudah that run 4.5 that need to be scheme specific. That's not to say that he won't be good, but through 2 years, Okudah wasn't good last year, and then he's hurt this year. So that's not to say that he's going to have a bad career, but let's reel this back in. CJ Henderson had a more promising future than Jeff Okudah based on what we've seen so far, right? Now, I don't say this to say that I have this huge love affair with CJ Henderson, okay? By no means do I think that this guy had arrived or anything like that. He still had a lot to prove. But I think he was clearly our best cornerback. Clearly, Shaq Griffin hasn't been great. I've never been enamored with him. I like Tyson Campbell a lot. I know a lot of Jags fans and casuals want to jump out the window on Tyson Campbell because he's allowed some plays where, and you don't understand how difficult it is to play cornerback. Cornerbacks don't, unless you're Jalen Ramsey, don't typically come out of the draft and just become that dude. Like they usually take time to develop. And Tyson Campbell is another guy that has all the intangibles CJ Henderson has, In fact, I think he might even be better down the road with the right coaching than CJ Henderson, because a lot of the plays he allows, if you're really paying attention, he has a height, weight, speed, quicks, right? And he's always there to make the play. His biggest problem is that he never seems to get his head around to make the play. His ball skills are severely lacking, but that can come with experience, and with experience come instincts, and then watch 2-3 years down the line how different a cornerback he's going to look. You're looking at the wrong thing and judging him the wrong way. Though, like some of those plays, like the Brandon Cooks burning, and some of the plays you saw in the preseason, he's there. He just doesn't make the play on the ball. That's stuff that coaching can fix. Back to the trade. We traded the number 9 overall pick in the draft for a 3rd round pick and a ho-hum tight end. Okay. Dan Arnold is an okay tight end. He can catch. It's not the greatest blocker. He's kind of light, even though he's 6'6". All right. He better be our starting tight end at this point. But he's the kind of tight end you could have just signed in free agency. If you play fantasy, you should understand this. Like, looking at the list of free agent tight ends, it's like they're all, if they're not Kittle, like they're all just interchangeable at this point. And I feel like you could have gone into free agency and got a tight end the caliber of Dan Arnold, off the top of my head. So, this is so tough. This is a tough one, man. The number 9 overall pick, we ended up getting a 3rd round pick. But in order to get that 3rd round pick, we gave up a 5th. And we picked up a tight end that anybody could have picked up. Come on. That's just not good value at all. At all. Meanwhile, the Panthers get another top pick at cornerback with J.C. Horn being out. So in the future, they have bookend corners between J.C. Horn and C.J. Henderson. Mind you, right, this isn't to knock my Carolina fans, but J.C. Horn broke multiple bones in his foot from what I'm hearing. Foot injuries like that is something to be concerned about. So on the positive side, you have bookend corners, right? But at worst case scenario, I don't know, you hope he comes back from that. But guys that need to, do a lot of juking, a lot of cutting and stuff like that. I'll give you an example. Maurice Jones-Drew had a Liz Frank injury, and he was never the same, right? We need to be worried a little bit about Travis Etienne right now because he had a similar injury. Now, they're saying J.C. Horn broke multiple bones. I'm not sure that's something that he's going to be able to, come back from and be the same, type of player that he was. But if he is, you have bookend corners. Do you understand the value you gave to the Panthers? Essentially just for a 3rd round pick. Like, that value on its own was a 1st round pick. And maybe not a top 10 pick, but when you're trading this kid away, you're going to get pennies on a dollar for it. But I think you could have still got a 1st round value, albeit maybe the back end of the 1st round. If you don't get a 1st round pick, at worst you get a 2nd. If you don't get a 2nd, you don't make the trade, because you need to understand value, right? So we got Dan Arnold. Forget the 3rd round pick. How about trading him to Philadelphia for Zach Ertz? It's like the worst kept secret in America that Zach Ertz is basically ready to be had if the right offer is made. You don't think Philly can use another corner? And I'm not saying it would be 1-for-1. Like, maybe in that trade we include a 5th round pick. That would make more damn sense than getting Dan Arnold in a 3rd. The Cowboys, because you guys know I'm also a Cowboy fan. They have Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin. They have problems in the secondary, even though they've drafted corners. You don't think that they jump all over a CJ Henderson trade for like a Blake Jarwin? maybe throw in a pick or two. I mean, and I'm just freestyling some of this stuff, man. Like, this is, here's what pisses me off, and this is why Trent Baalke needs to be fired. Okay, you don't trade. I'm encompassing everything that's happened in the offseason. You don't trade like in that preseason, right before the season starts window, because everybody has signed their players. You don't have the bidding war that you typically have in the offseason when everybody's trying to figure out how to, put their roster together. So you're trading at a lower value when you're trading in that time frame, in that time window, right? We traded Sidney Jones for a 6th-round pick. We traded Joe Schobert for a 6th-round pick. We traded Gardner Minshew for a 6th-round pick. We basically, and some idiots, right, if you're a casual, will go, well, we were going to cut those guys, right? You don't cut a guy like Joe Schobert. You don't cut Gardner Minshew. You don't cut Sidney Jones, all right? You get equitable compensation for them. Gardner Minshew, you try to hold on to as long as you can, and you wait for an injury, a la the Washington Redskins, a la the Bears. Who else had an injury? I feel like there's another injury I'm missing. Carson Wentz is flirting with injury. Tua went down. You wait for stuff like that to happen, and then maybe you get a 4th-round pick for a Gardner Minshew. At least a 4th. Okay, Joe Schobert, worst case, you get a 4. But you gave him up for a 6th. What was the point of letting go of Sidney Jones for the 6th if we were just going to cough up CJ Henderson for a 3rd? It's hard out here, Jags fans. It's hard. We giving away good players and not getting good compensation back. Like, we can't recoup that value in the 3rd and 6th round. We can't do it. Horrible GMing. Horrible. I listen, I can do a better job and you can pay me less than whatever you're giving Trent Baalke. Okay, I will take less. I put my hat in the ring. Ruben Corella, let me get your vote. Please. Make this video go viral. Please. Get me in there, in the office. I'll give free advice. Okay? Maybe not free advice, but we can figure something out where I can help this team and you can pay me for it. All right? That's all I got for now, guys. I didn't want to make this too long, but damn.